Hello, 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 everybody, and welcome to Season 2, Episode 14 of Career Girl Chats. My name is Anna O, and I am the founder of Career Girl Lifestyle. On today's episode, we have the honor and the pleasure of speaking with Shanon Whittingham, who is a registered dietitian and a nutritionist, and we will be talking all about nutrition and healthy living. As you know, Career Girl Lifestyle is dedicated to helping women level up in their careers and level up in their lives. One thing that I always say is the level up is not just external, it's very much so internal. Before I bring Shanon on, I want to just read her bio, and then we're going to get this discussion started. So Shanon Whittingham is a registered dietitian, certified nutritionist, and holistic health practitioner who has committed herself to helping others improve their health since 2017. Recently, she launched her own organization called the Nourish Center, and their main goal is to help others optimize their nutrition, movement, rest, and mindfulness using their Nourish Formula, while assisting them to form healthy habits that lead to lifelong healing, health, and well-being. Hi, good evening, Shanon. Welcome to Career Girl Chats. Thank you so much for your time this evening.
I'm so excited to be here, and thank you for allowing me to be a guest.
Yes, I'm really excited about this discussion. But before we get it started, I just want to say congratulations.
Thank you.
You recently received your, when you become registered, what's the exact title for it?
Board certified registered dietitian. Mm-hmm.
There you go. And also on the launch of the Nourish Center as well. It looks amazing. Yes. I cannot wait to talk about it.
Yes.
All right, so let's jump right into the chat. Shanon, when did health and nutrition become a major part of your life? And what inspired you to turn your passion into a career?
Okay, so let's start with the first half of the question of when did health and nutrition become a major part of my life? Mm-hmm. Right. Okay. So I've kind of always been interested in healthcare since I was a little girl. I remember I wanted to be a pediatrician, and then I realized how long medical school was, and I was like, that is not for me. So then I kind of changed and went into health psychology in undergrad, which is basically the study of how our biology, our environment, and our relationships affect the decisions we make when it comes to food and nutrition and our overall health. And then after I graduated, I kind of started dabbling into health coaching. So, helping individuals live healthier lifestyles through improving their food and exercise habits. And then I realized that I had to go back. I could not avoid healthcare. And even though I was not going to go back into, healthcare to become a doctor, I realized that my passion was within the niche of nutrition. And in order to be an expert in that field, it is best that you go back to school to become a registered dietitian. And so I ended up having to take courses that I ignored or avoided in undergrad, like biochem, chemistry 1 and 2 with the labs. And then I went back for my master's, got that master's in nutrition and dietetics, and then studied for my board exam, and here I am.
Yes, I love it.
So it came back full circle somehow. So still in healthcare, but just a little bit in a different niche.
Right, and it always works out, right?
Yeah,
our plan always works out.
Yeah,
I saw on your website, the Nourish Center, that you guys give a lot of statistics, especially revolving around women's health. So can you educate us on some of the alarming statistics that surround women's health and why your mission as a nutritionist and an entrepreneur is dedicated to helping women specifically?
Yes, that's a great question. So unfortunately, women have higher rates of obesity and being overweight. Women have higher rates of being depressed and anxious in compared to men. Women also have higher rates of mortality or death in comparison to men. And even in terms of just healthcare and how women are treated, the statistics are showing that oftentimes women feel more ignored in a medical office in comparison to men. So just by seeing that and even studying that in my master's program, I really wanted to address those issues. And for example, in my master's program, I study the leading factors of obesity and weight gain in African American women in particular. And basically, I just wanted to look at, okay, women have the highest rates of being overweight or struggling with their weight. But why is that? Why is that stat for Black women in particular? And what I found was that it is multifaceted. It's not just one thing. It's our environment, the neighborhood we grow up around. It's the lack of access to healthy foods. For example, even in a deli, now a lot of delis are becoming healthier and they're serving fruits and stuff like that. But back in the day, that was not always the case.
Right.
Also, how we think about our bodies, right? Especially as, African American women, and even just in general, women now, we kind of highlight being shapely and, having boobs and hips and all of that, even at the expense of our own health at times. And so, in seeing this and being a woman and being a Black woman, I really wanted to create something that addressed these issues. I find that there's always, headlines and research that's coming out that says like this causes that, or Black women or women have this issue or that issue, but we don't see a lot of people trying to address what was found. Right. And so that's kind of how, I decided to turn my passion and interest into my career.
Right. I love that. And, that brings me to my next question. What are the benefits of having a nutritionist? Because it's not something in the Black community that we tend to speak about, right? We'll try our own little fad diets, but we don't go to the extent of hiring someone to help us, with our lifestyle ultimately. So what are some of the benefits of hiring someone like yourself?
Right. That is a great question. So there's many benefits of hiring someone like myself to work with you. We are trained to provide personalized nutrition to help you reach your specific goals. So in comparison to, say you have anemia, say you're anemic, right? So you're low in iron. You might say, okay, I'll just take an iron supplement. Now, a nutritionist or a registered dietitian, we're going to look at, okay, what does your lab say? Are you anemic because you have an iron deficiency or a folate deficiency? Or do you have macrocytic anemia or microcytic anemia? So some people don't even know there's different types of anemia. Right. And now working with the registered dietitian, we will assess your labs. We will look at what you're eating. We will provide recommendations so you don't have to take a pill, but you can get that iron from foods or folate from foods. And not only that, but we're also trained to look at other areas as well. Okay, why are you anemic? Right. Maybe is it just because you're not eating enough food, or is it because of some other issue going on in your body that's causing you to now not absorb iron in the way that your body's supposed to? So we really try to take a holistic approach when we work with clients, and we're trained to think differently and not just, Google, okay, I'm anemic, what foods are high in iron? That's usually the first thing, people will tend to do, but we're trained to look at so many different areas and then provide you with a plan and track, that process along the way towards better health so that you're not anemic anymore. And we do that for so many different things, whether it's anemia, celiac disease, weight gain, weight loss. If you have issues with bloating, some people think that it's just gas, but a lot of times it's certain food intolerances that you might have that causes that gas. And even in terms of food intolerances, a lot of people just name like, shellfish, peanuts, milk, but a lot of people don't know that they might be intolerant to a specific food or fruit, vegetable that other people might not be. And so we really take in consideration all of that and are trained to really provide you with personalized nutrition so that you can create your own diet that works and sticks for the long term.
Right, that makes sense. And this is actually a great question. Starguz asks, can you please tell us the difference between a nutritionist and a dietitian?
Great question. Very great question. So registered dietitians, as I mentioned, are trained. We have to go to school to an accredited program, and then we have to go through internship, which is similar to a residency that a doctor would take. We have to complete 1,200 hours of unpaid work, where we work with different clients in different disease states, from kidney disease, diabetes, you name it. We work with alongside the doctor through every single type of disease or condition that you can think of. And then once we're done with that, we have to be what is called like certified, which basically says, okay, you completed the coursework, you went through your internship, now you can take the exam. And then after that, you have to study and then take the exam, which is a nationwide exam that all dietitians have to go through. And then you become a dietitian. Now, as far as a nutritionist, and I should mention, so all dietitians are nutritionists. We study nutrition, we study anatomy, biology, the chemistry of food, the chemistry of your body. And all dietitians are nutritionists, but not all nutritionists are dietitians. So unfortunately, anyone can kind of call themselves a nutritionist, kind of like anyone can call themselves a health coach. And now this is kind of changing from state to state. Some states are cracking down and saying you need to, get some type of certification, whether it's a course online or whether you're going to go to school to become a dietitian. But as it stands right now, anyone can kind of like wake up and call themselves a nutritionist if they love nutrition or want to talk about it online. And even doctors who specialize in nutrition or took a certification in nutrition can call themselves, hey, I'm a doctor and I'm also a nutritionist. I also specialize in nutrition. So that's kind of the difference. If you're looking for someone that you can trust and who has went through school and has that education in science, you definitely want to seek out a registered dietitian, or they're also called registered dietitian-nutritionist over a nutritionist. So hopefully that makes sense. But that's a great question.
Right. And just a follow-up question. Someone asked, what is the best way to find a registered dietitian?
Okay, so now we're kind of getting a little bit more tech savvy. Yeah. So Instagram is very great nowadays. You can literally hashtag the word registered dietitian or dietitian, but you can also go to eatright.org. So that's the main organization that kind of talks about all things nutrition and dietetics. You can find a dietitian through there. But now a lot of dietitians are kind of putting themselves out there, most of them because they realize that a lot of nutritionists are, promoting themselves and they're not. So you can kind of find us anywhere. Just type in the word dietitian and you want to look for those words, again, dietitian or the credentials RD or RDN. Because nutritionists cannot use those credentials, right? Only dietitians. So you want to look out for RDN, registered dietitian nutritionist, or RD, registered dietitian.
Right. Or you can follow Shanon.
Yes. Or you can follow me on everywhere at the Nourish Center.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So you mentioned that you take a holistic approach with your clients, or just a holistic approach to health. Can you kind of go in depth as to what that means and how does that differ from, I guess, the standard approach that most registered dietitians take?
Yes. So before I became a dietitian, I was a health coach and I specialized in holistic health, which is basically looking at how our biology, our mental, and our spiritual health play a role in our overall well-being. And the reason why I did that was because we have a mind, we have a soul, and we have a body. And when I worked with clients, I always found that it wasn't always this caused that. Like, for example, someone might be struggling with their weight and they want to lose their weight, they want to lose their belly fat, what have you. And I would dig deeper and ask them, all right, what are you eating? What are you not eating? And then when we get to why, a lot of times I would find that they were like emotionally eating, for example. So they would struggle at nights with eating, or snacking because they were going through a tough time emotionally, or they had, anxiety about a certain situation, and food became very soothing. And so I started figuring out that, okay, I need to start working on some non-food alternatives to help someone cope, such as journaling or taking a walk or talking to a friend. And so my approach to helping them reach their goals became holistic. It wasn't just about, all right, you want to lose weight, this is what you should eat. It was, all right, you want to lose weight, this is what you should eat. And also, I want you to engage in 10 minutes of mindfulness or 10 minutes of meditation today, so that if you get in a mood tonight, you know what to do to tackle how you feel. You can just center yourself. And so, and also, even on the spiritual side of things, certain people have certain religious beliefs that cause them to avoid or eat certain foods as well, or cause them to think about food differently. So in working with different people over the years, I just noticed that, you know, it's so important, because we have a body, a mind, a soul, a spirit, that we really need to look at how all these areas work together and affect each other as we're working on whatever specific goal we have.
I love that, because it really focuses on the whole person,
right,
versus just, you know, just getting them to a goal. It really breaks down step by step. This is what we have to do internally in order to see the external, you know, benefits of it.
Absolutely. And then even, you know, when it comes to goals, right? Again, touching on weight loss here or weight gain, some women want to gain weight to feel more confident. It always goes back to a mindset thing. So when I ask a client, when they first start working with me, why do you want to work on this goal? It always goes back to, like, I want to feel confident about myself. I want to feel confident in the clothes I used to wear. It always ties in. One thing always affects the other. So yeah, I really found that taking this approach is the best way to go about helping people achieve their goals, at least for me.
I love that. Explain the Nourish Formula, your step-by-step method, and the approach that you take in your private practice.
Yes. So the Nourish Formula is something that my mom and I came up with in terms of the name, because we were trying to figure out, how do we explain to others this holistic approach, right? When someone asks us, you know, how do we go about this? And so I explained to her, well, it's kind of, the holistic approach is a formula that I use. I really, you know, do assess individuals. I ask them certain questions. And if I had to break this down into different categories, it would definitely be asking them about their nutrition or food, asking them about their exercise or movement, asking them about how they engage in rest, and then also just asking them just overall about their overall mindset and mindfulness. And so this Nourish Formula, it includes these 4 areas: nutrition, joyful movement, rest, and mindfulness. And I believe this is the true formula to really achieve better health and achieve your goals. So if someone were to just comment on this live, like, hey, my goal is to, I don't know, clear my skin with nutrition, right? So nutrition, now I would work on, all right, what are the foods that cause inflammation that would lead to skin issues? That would be nutrition. Movement, what are some exercises that you can do that you actually enjoy? Because a lot of times we hear the word exercise, but it doesn't sound like something fun. And so I wanted to use the word movement in place, because anything that gets our body moving and get our heart rate up counts as exercise. So I really asked them, you know, what do you like to do to get your body moving? Is it dance? Is it walking? Is it taking a Zumba class? So that would fall under movement. And then mindfulness, that touches on the mental health aspect. How are you being mindful of your choices, but also how are you being mindful about how you're thinking about yourself, or how you're even approaching every day as you go throughout this process of achieving better health. And then last but not least, rest. So rest is so important. I find so many people overlook rest, overlook sleep. And the reason why I wanted to use the word rest was because just because we're sleeping doesn't mean that we're resting. A lot of people have difficulty sleeping. They have sleep issues. They wake up in the middle of the night, or they wake up multiple times a night. So in terms of rest, I really want to help my clients to engage in ways that they can rest when they are sleeping, but also moments of rest throughout the day as well. Taking a 5-minute for yourself, and also, you know, when you're going to sleep, all right, what can you do to prepare your body, but also your mind, to have a good night's rest? So that is what the Nourish Formula is.
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure that everyone has this question, right? Or they would not be on this live with us right now. But once someone decides that they would like to prioritize their nutrition, where do they begin? What is the first step?
That is a good question. So the cliche answer would be to book a consultation with me so that I can get you started. But in terms of, figuring out where to get started, I think that oftentimes people look at, what can I take out? What can I stop doing? What can I eliminate? And I always tell them, think about that differently. How about you start thinking about what you can add that you're not doing right now? Meaning, maybe you can drink more water. Maybe you can add in some nourishing foods. Maybe you can add in 10 minutes of exercise. Maybe you can add in, probiotics for your gut health. What are you not doing right now that you can add into your nutrition or your diet that will improve your overall health? And the reason why I kind of recommend this when someone's thinking about improving their overall health and nutrition is because, again, a lot of times people think about what to take out, and they take out so many things, and then they try it for a couple of days and they're like, I'm not doing this. This is crazy. This diet is not for me. Right. And oftentimes, I kid you not, when I assess a client, they always are missing like some type of nutrient, or they're always deficient in something, or will be, based on when I look at their food log. I look at certain things. I'm like, if this continues, they're going to be deficient in iron or calcium or B12. And so, or so on. And so I always kind of tell people, when you're thinking about, changing your overall lifestyle or working on a specific goal, start thinking about something that you can add that is nourishing to your body and your overall lifestyle. So I think that's a good place to begin. And I think anyone, even myself, I could think of one thing that I'm not doing or I didn't do this week that I can add into my day to really nourish my body.
Yeah, I love that approach because it also helps with mindset too. Because oftentimes when we think about dieting, you're right, we're always thinking about like, what can I not eat anymore? And that's what turns people off from doing the diet. But if you think about, what things can I add? I think that'll definitely help. Because I just did a keto last month, and my approach to it was just so positive, and I enjoyed it. When I was done with it, I actually still stuck to some of the things that I was doing because I had enjoyed it so much. And I feel like with nutrition, you can make it fun. It's not as daunting as, some people make it seem.
Exactly. And even you mentioned the word diet. If there's anything I could say to the woman on here tonight, is to just think differently about the word diet. So a lot of dietitians, I get where they're going with this, but I don't completely agree. They call themselves anti-diet dietitians. And by that, they mean anti-fad diet. So there's a lot of crazy diets out there. And so there's a group of dietitians who are forming this alliance called anti-diet dietitian. But I like to use the word diet to say, a diet is simply the way that you eat. It doesn't have to be restrictive. It doesn't have to be over the top. My diet is going to be different from your diet. If you literally look up the definition diet, it's literally going to just be a way of eating, a way that a person eats. And so when we think of the word diet, one thing that I just want to say is that to just think of your own diet and not try to push whatever you're doing on someone else, but also just think of it as an individualized, approach to health. So that's something that I want to mention as well.
I love that. Yeah. So speaking of diet, what does a well-rounded diet look like? And I know the answer may be different for different people depending on, what they can and cannot eat. But just across the board, what do we want to put into our bodies?
Right. So you definitely want the basics: healthy carbs, fat, and protein. So this is because each one of those macronutrients do different things in our bodies. So we have macronutrients and then we have micronutrients. Macronutrients are carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. And then micronutrients are within macronutrients, and there are vitamins and minerals. And so you really don't want to eliminate macronutrients completely for a long period of time, because again, each one of those things do a different thing in our body. So for example, carbohydrates are our brain and body's primary source of fuel. So our brain feeds on carbs. So if you're not eating enough carbs, then our body can go into ketosis, and that's how the whole keto diet thing started and started. But you don't necessarily, your body's not necessarily used to using ketones or fat for fuel long term. So you don't, and even on the keto diet, there's different ways that you can go about it, because I know people still include carbs and stuff like that. But keeping things simple, carbohydrates are our brain and body's primary source of energy and fuel. Carbohydrates is where we get our vitamin A's and vitamin C. Then you have your protein. Protein is necessary for muscles, so that we can lift things up and put them down, or so that when we go to the gym and we exercise and we break down our muscle tissue, we can get stronger as they rebuild. If we're not getting enough protein, then we're not going to be able to make muscle. And then fat is very important. Fat helps our body to regulate our body temperature. So oftentimes, if you have a low body fat, you might be prone to feeling cold more easily. Also, fat is a part of every one of our cells. So that's also important for cell formation and cell regeneration, especially for our skin. And so when you're thinking about, creating a balanced diet, you want to make sure that you're getting your carbs, fat, and proteins. And if you're, getting healthy carbs, majority of healthy carbs, healthy fats, healthy proteins, you're going to cover the micronutrients, you're going to cover the vitamins and minerals. But yeah, you would want to start there. That's a good guideline. I'll just stop there, just so I don't confuse anyone. But yeah, you want to make sure you're getting your healthy carbs, healthy fats, and healthy proteins.
And can you just give us 3 healthy carbs? Because I feel like most of us, when we hear carbs, we're like, oh my God, no. Wait. So what are 3 healthy carbs?
Yes. So you have, and that's why I said the word healthy. That's a good question, because there's healthy carbs, or I'll say this, carbs that you want to eat more of, and carbs that you want to eat less of. And so the carbs you want to eat more of are your fruits, your vegetables, your nuts, your grains. Your fruits and vegetables are going to give you your vitamin A, your vitamin C, your minerals, vitamin K, calcium. Your nuts are going to give you minerals as well, selenium, iodine, and all of these different things I'm naming do different things in your body. All of these different things, if you're deficient, your medical doctor is going to give you a vitamin so that you are sufficient, so that your body doesn't react in a negative way. And so healthy carbs would be your fruits, your vegetables, your nuts, your whole grains, so your whole wheat bread, your brown rice. And then your carbs that you want to eat less of would be your processed carbs. So white rice, white bread, pastries, donuts, French fries, those things. And I always like to say more of and less of, because again, all foods fits in terms of a healthy diet, but you want to be mindful of how much of each of these things you're eating, so that you're giving your body the nourishment it needs. That should be your top priority when you're thinking about your own diet, that you're nourishing your body first. So if you're not eating fruits and vegetables and nuts and grains, you probably shouldn't be opting for that pastry or that donut. Make sure that you're eating your fruits and vegetables first. And then chances are, when you do that, you're probably not even going to want the alternative option. So yeah, those are some healthy carbs and unhealthy carbs.
Yes, I love that. We pretty much have to plan what we eat. Even if we're not meal prepping, we have to have a mental, I guess, journal of this is what I can eat today. This is what I can't eat today. Otherwise, we'll just be eating anything.
Right. And it's always good to meal prep. Now, meal prep doesn't mean that you have to eat the same thing every single day, because I am not a fan of that.
Hard.
Foodie. But meal preps basically can be something as simple as, I know I need to have carbs, fat, and protein, or I know I need to have fruits and vegetables every single day. What fruits and vegetables can I buy at the grocery store this Sunday to cover 7 days? So maybe I'm going to buy 7 bananas and 7 packs of a salad, or what have you. And then, okay, I'm covering that. I just meal prep that. That is a meal prep. And you're covering the nutrition that you need. Meal prep doesn't always have to be so extravagant and all in the container or this and that.
Right.
So yeah, you just want to keep things simple, because once you start overwhelming yourself, you're not going to stick to it.
Absolutely. I love carbs.
Yes.
I think we all do.
We all love. That's why I say eat more of and less of, because there's no way I'm going to say don't have. Right. I love my carbs.
Right. what are some common daily habits that are detrimental to our health that we often overlook? Like, what are some things that we could just be doing every day that we're not realizing, it's not benefiting us, or it's only hindering our healthy living?
That's a good question. I would definitely start with water first. I'm not saying that you have to drink a gallon a day. That is actually a myth. How much water you should drink depends on your body weight. So if you weigh more, you should drink more water. If you weigh less, you should drink less. And dietitians have a formula that we use to calculate that. So I would definitely say water, because our body is made up of 70% water. And even research is saying that might be a higher number. And so oftentimes people are not drinking enough water, and they confuse hunger with dehydration. So a simple example would be, one of my best friends does this, and I do it as well. She keeps like water by her bedside when she's going to sleep. And sometimes in the middle of the night, she'll just take a sip. And my mom, she started doing the same thing as well, because my mom started realizing that she would get these headaches, and she would just like take Tylenol and then feel okay. And I'm like, Mommy, you're probably like dehydrated or hungry. Instead of doing that, try drinking some water, just a cup next time. And now she doesn't suffer from migraines. She doesn't suffer from headaches. It was all related to dehydration, because one of the symptoms of dehydration is migraines, is headaches, is UTIs, is very potent smelling urine and stuff like that. So because our body, again, needs water to thrive. And so one thing I would definitely say that a lot of us overlook is water. And again, you don't have to drink a gallon a day. You could just have a cute little cup. You can buy one from Starbucks. I have one from Starbucks, and just sip it throughout the day. You know, we're sweating throughout the day. We're talking. We expel mist, if you will, through our mouth when we speak. So we're expelling water there as well. So you want to be rehydrating. When you use the bathroom to urinate, you're expelling water. So you want to be just drinking and staying hydrated, and not confusing that with something else that could be happening in your body, and vice versa. So I would definitely say water. I would definitely say fruits and vegetables. I don't think a lot of us are eating enough fruits and vegetables. A lot of people, especially people of color, see fruits and vegetables as a luxury, I have seen. So by that, I mean, they might have a fruit today and like be like, yes, I had fruit today. And I'm like, this is good, but this is supposed to be every day. Try to make it an everyday thing, not just like you went out to eat today for brunch and you got like a parfait or a tart with fruit on top. Make that an everyday thing, because your body needs the nutrients that fruits and vegetables provide. So number one, I would say water. Number two, I would say fruits and vegetables to give your body the energy it needs. Again, whether you're having that fruit or vegetable whole, or whether you're putting it in a blender, that also counts. But again, just nourishing your body in those ways. And then finally, I would say movement. So exercise and rest hand in hand. So again, getting outdoors 5 minutes a day. Right now, we're all at home. We're quarantined.
Right.
We are not moving anywhere near the amount we were moving a year ago or 2 years ago. Some of us, we're not taking the bus. We're not driving. We're not, commuting however we used to. And so just taking 5 minutes every 30 minutes, or every hour, taking 10 minutes to just get up and stretch, or turn on a YouTube video to do a little low impact exercise, moving our body so that we're staying mobile. We're not getting, immobile and getting back issues and knee issues because we're not moving those bones. And so getting that exercise in, I would definitely say, is important, and also finding moments of rest. So
yeah. Absolutely. For me, it was sleep.
Sleep.
I just think overall, like, not even just sleep, but just listening to my body in general, right? Because our body will tell us when it's hungry, when it's tired. And for me, it's like I would feel tired, but I'd be so stubborn. So I'll be working on something, and I'm the type of person, like, I don't like to move from my laptop unless I'm done. So I'm like, okay, I'll eat in 1 more hour, and then 1 more hour turns into like 2 hours. And then it's like, by then it's bedtime, and I'm like, okay, well, I don't want to eat too late. And then it's just like,
See, so
Point
that's
and
your
listening
mind
to my
and your
body.
body. You're choosing
Yeah.
one over the other. You're
Yeah.
choosing to follow your mind of I want to work, I want to grind over
Right.
your bodily signals that's telling you I want to rest, right? And so
Right.
being intuitive and paying attention to your body is so important because that rest does matter and sleep does matter for you to function and for you to have the energy to thrive even the next day. And so even regarding that, I love to tell people to just be mindful, right? So oftentimes when we need to use the bathroom, when we gotta go, we gotta go. Like we need to find a restroom, right? And we
Right.
are intuitive with when we gotta use a bathroom, especially if we have to urinate, we have to find a bathroom really quickly. Now, and our body will send us very strong signals to find a toilet, right? In comparison to when we need to rest, it's more subtle, right? It might come on more slowly, but it's also important to be intuitive and listen to that as well. And listen to when your body's telling you, hey, you know, I need rest. This is kind of it for me. And being very mindful of that and listening as well, because our mind can definitely play tricks on us and push us on our limit at times.
100%. And I feel like as women too, especially even Black women, like we're super harder on ourselves.
Yeah.
So we're like, no, we got to keep going. We got to keep going. But that rest and recovery period is so essential to the bounce back. So it's like whatever you're working on can wait, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like when you come back from it,
and there's always something to do.
Exactly.
There will always be something to do. When we're finished one thing, we're going to work on another thing, or we're going to work on helping somebody else with their thing. So there's always something to do.
Yes. Someone asked a question. So, do you think women really benefit from a daily vitamin?
Oh, good question. So that depends. So, for example, if you are on like your A game with your nutrition, your meal planning, you're eating healthy, you're crossing all the I's and dotting all the T's, no, you wouldn't need a daily vitamin necessarily. However, some people are still deficient in some things. You might be deficient in vitamin D or again in iron. And so a lot of dietitians, when we first start working, or when I first start working with the client, I might have them take a multivitamin until they get, you know, their nutrition in check, or until I look at their labs and see what's happening over there. Especially because oftentimes our labs will, or sometimes when people look at their labs, they're like, oh, I have a low iron level, so that means I'm anemic. But I'll say this, looking at labs just as is, like when you look at iron as a dietitian and it says it's low, that doesn't mean that you're low in iron. It's very confusing. It means that you're low in something else. So as a medical professional, and your doctor knows this, he knows what to look for to double check that it's iron and not something else. And I kind of mentioned that earlier in the video or in the live. And so basically, when it comes to, your question was when it comes to
Vitamins. Do you think women benefit from
if they benefit?
daily vitamins?
Yeah, it kind of depends. So if your diet is, if you know that you're not eating the way that you should, I would definitely say to take vitamins and take it with food, because it just helps with absorption. Because our body is just so unique in that when we start eating certain chemicals and hormones, released to help with absorption. So you want to take your vitamins with food so it's absorbing the vitamin properly. But if you work with a dietitian, you will find that we will give you very personalized recommendations. So we might not say take a multivitamin. We might say just take vitamin D because we noticed that you're low in vitamin D. So that question kind of really depends from person to person. Will there be any harm in taking a multivitamin? No, not necessarily. And nowadays, a lot of vitamins on the market are pretty good in terms of being super high in certain vitamins, like vitamin C. It's not going to cause any adverse effects on your health. Like a vitamin C, for example, it can't really become toxic in your body. Like the worst that can happen is like you'll get diarrhea or bloating. That's like the worst. It's not something that you want either. But so a lot of vitamins, they take that in consideration. But again, I would definitely say to seek out a dietitian if you're looking, or your doctor, to take a multivitamin, because you don't want to be taking a multivitamin that's high in a certain mineral, especially, and then eating certain foods that's high in that mineral, and then you become toxic. So yeah, that question kind of depends.
Right. And I kind of alluded to this in my last comment when I was talking about myself. But my next question is about career women, right? Career oriented women. Most of us are on the go, and more often than not, we struggle with our diet and nutrition. So, what tips do you have for the busy career woman who doesn't have a lot of time but wants to make her nutrition and her health a priority?
That's a great question. I would definitely say going back to meal prepping and not thinking of it as an extreme every single day I'm eating the same thing, thing, but going back to meal prepping and finding one thing that you can do to just eat healthy in your week. So again, that could just mean on Sunday, I'm going to prepare 5 snacks for each day of the week because I know that around 2 o'clock, I'm hungry and I want to go to the deli and buy me a bag of chips and whatever. So that could simply mean like every Sunday, just for 10-15 minutes, I'm gonna meal prep some yogurt with granola, a banana, and avocado, I don't know, and some toast, and just prep that so that I know every day when I'm hungry, I can just go to the fridge and grab that and I'll be good to go. And then just building on that as a career woman, just building on that. So whenever you find that, all right, this has become a part of my routine. Every Sunday, boom, I'm meal prepping. I have more time. This has become like something that I've gotten the hang of. Now you can start saying, all right, every Sunday, I'm just going to cook brown rice. Not going to make chicken and this and that. I'm just going to make brown rice for 3 days. So now when you have to cook on Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday, at least you don't have to make the rice. At least you don't have to think about snacks. You could just prepare your protein, whatever you're going to have. You already have the rice prepared. Or you can have your rice and then say, I'm going to make a stir fry, or I want to make whatever. You can use rice in many different ways. But basically starting small, creating a small realistic goal, a goal that literally seems like, why am I even writing this down as a goal? Yes, do that thing. And when it becomes a habit, like brushing your teeth in the morning, then start adding more.
Yes, I love that. The word that kept coming to mind as you were talking was just intentional. You have to be intentional about it, and you have to pretty much weave it into your lifestyle. It has to be a part of you.
It has to be a part of you. And you have to, again, emphasizing SMART goals. So specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time bound. SMART. Making your goals very easy peasy so that it becomes a part of your lifestyle to the point where you even forget that this is something that you do every day. So being very intentional and making SMART goals. Yeah, absolutely.
Do you have to have a medical diagnosis in order to see a registered dietitian?
Good question. So yes and no. Yes, in terms of traditional medicine. So if you go to your doctor and say, I want to see a dietitian, he's probably going to ask you why. Unfortunately, in healthcare, it's very backwards. So you can't see a dietitian in healthcare unless you have diabetes, kidney disease, obesity, I believe, and I forget the last one. And it goes by like insurance. And then your doctor will say, hey, you can see a dietitian. They're not very preventative. They're not very, hey, you are doing well. You want to talk to a dietitian? Unfortunately. But now a lot of dietitians like myself, we have our own private practice. So you don't need a medical diagnosis to see us. You can just come to us and tell us about your goals, whether it's weight loss, weight gain, diabetes, what have you, and we will work with you to achieve those goals. And a lot of us accept insurance, or like myself, a lot of us will do paperwork where you can basically say to your own insurance company, hey, I work with a dietitian to do such and such. Can you reimburse me this amount?
Okay. So let's talk about the do's and the don'ts of dieting. We kind of touched on this a little bit before, but what are some things that we need to stop doing and things that we need to start doing? Like, what are some mistakes that you often see people make when they say, okay, I'm going to, start a healthy lifestyle journey?
I would say overdoing it, definitely overdoing it and then giving up. So a lot of people will overdo it and say, I'm going to cut this out and cut that out. And then they try it and then they quit, or they overdo it and then they're like, all right, this is my cheat day. Why do you have a cheat day? You should not have a cheat day. All foods fit, meaning you can have a cookie, you can have cake. But again, you want to make sure that you're providing your body with the food that it needs first. And then you can indulge in healthy portions and the other foods. And again, oftentimes when people provide their body with the food that it needs to thrive, they often, I cannot tell you how much, they often feel like, all right, I don't really want the cake. Like, I just ate so healthy. Why would I even eat that cake right now? Or they might say, you know what, I'll just have a little slice. Like, I don't even really want this, but I have a little slice. But again, oftentimes people don't think that way. They jump right in and they cut out a whole bunch of things and they have a cheat day and then they fall off. So I'll definitely say, again, starting small, adding things in rather than eliminating things, because the more you add, the less you'll want those indulgent foods, or the less you will have them. So I'll definitely say that. Another thing that I would say is getting to your why is very important. So I'll talk about weight management, and also someone mentioned veganism. Those are like my top two things that I love working with others to help them achieve a healthy weight, whether that's to gain weight, to be healthier, or lose weight, or to go vegan. And so getting to your why. So basically looking at, why do you want to do this? Because a lot of times people are like, oh, I want to lose weight. Yeah, I want to lose weight. I got to lose weight. But it's like, why? And when you understand your why, that really motivates you every morning to keep going. That really pushes you. Like, you know what? I'm not just doing this to, lose weight. I'm doing this for my health. I'm doing this for my family. I'm doing this so that I can be an influence to my kids, or to my friends, or my support group. I'm doing this for my confidence, because I know that I have this outfit in my closet that I used to fit in, and now that I try it on and it can't zip up, it doesn't make me feel good. Getting to your why to really push you forward. And even, same thing for veganism. This is a popular one. Like, a lot of people want to go vegan. Getting to your why. Are you doing it just because it's a hot topic, or are you doing it for your health? Are you doing it for the environment? Are you doing it for the animals? Really getting to your why to really motivate you to go forward. So
yes. Absolutely. And another thing I always say, it's cliche, but health really is wealth, right? We all want to be these boss women. We all want to run these empires. We need the help in order to do that, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to be 40 years old and I can't run, or I'm not getting enough rest, or I can't keep up because I'm not taking care of myself. Right. So we have to incorporate our health into like our long-term goals. Like, where do I see myself long-term, and what healthy lifestyle do I need to maintain in order to make sure that I can keep up with that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I tell you, like, especially as young people, millennials, we overlook our health until something happens. Then we want to start working on it. And I cannot tell you how much that, our medical care or healthcare, the industry is built to, treat, but not built to prevent. So it's honestly a lot of the times not even our fault, but really like putting ourselves first, and putting our body first, and realizing the wins that you'll get now just by doing that. So improved energy, improved mood, improved skin, not just thinking so much about like the long term. Yes, that's good too, but thinking about the benefits now, especially as a millennial, especially as a microwave generation. We want to see results now, but like looking at that to, achieve those small, what I like to call non-scale wins are important. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And it benefits us when we get older.
And it benefits when you get older.
Absolutely. Benefits us.
It becomes your part of your lifestyle. How many of us look at like 80 or 70-year-old woman or man, and you're like, oh my gosh, that was so good. What did you do?
Yes. My grandfather, he wakes up every morning at 4 a.m. and he still exercises at 72 years old. And he got surgery a couple of years ago, like hip surgery. And that normally takes, months to like almost a year to recover from. But because he was so healthy and he's always prioritized his health, he shortened his healing time. And his doctor said to him, it's because of how you've taken care of yourself, because most people your age.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
How can women start tracking their food intake effectively? Do you have any systems or apps that have worked for you and your clients?
So that question might be a little bit biased for me, only because I use my own tracking system, a platform that I use. So once you start working with me, there is an app that I let you download that I partner with, where you can track your food, your exercise, your mood, your bowel movements, everything that we're working on, or anything that we're working on. There's a way to track that. So that's what I use. Unfortunately, I have not used anything anything else because I pay for that platform. But I do know that people use MyFitnessPal, and that's also a really good one too.
Okay. And what about just journaling your food? I know sometimes people have like a food journal. Do you think those are effective?
Those are effective too, because then you can see consistencies or inconsistencies in your eating. So that is also really, really good as well. There's a lot of food journals online that you can download, or if you want to get creative, you can just go on Microsoft Word, put in the days of the week, put in breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and then print that out for free and track that way as well. And you could just print out a new sheet every week and then just compare, contrast. Oh my gosh, every single Monday I have Chipotle. Maybe I can learn how to make Chipotle. So yeah, there's different systems that you can use. But I do know MyFitnessPal, I've heard, is good. And also, like you mentioned, food journals are really good too.
Right. All right. So I see some of the ladies asking already, but how can prospective clients reach out to you and get their healthy lifestyle journey started with you? Do you have consultations? How does it work for you?
Yes. So I offer free 15-minute consultations. You just go to theNourishCenter.com. I'm everywhere at the Nourish Center. So you can find me, directly on my website to book a free consultation. I offer different services from one-on-one coaching, and starting July 1st, my women's health collective, the Nourish Collective, will be starting. That's going to be very, very affordable program where you can pay monthly for group coaching. But again, I have one-on-one coaching as well. And if you have any questions about my services, my plans, my approach, how I can help you, what conditions I help, you can definitely book a free 15-minute consultation and speak with me one-on-one.
I love it. And how long do you typically work with your clients?
So, good question. So if you are working with me one-on-one, that is for 3 months. And then I have another program that's kind of like an RD in your pocket. And that's a more affordable program. So that's for people who've already went through the 3 months with me and just want to keep me around for their long-term health, or if they have questions, or if they're, going through different stages. So I've worked with people who, I've helped them lose weight and then they got pregnant. And then they're like, Shannon, what should I eat for my baby, for me? And then, they're done and they're like, now I have a toddler. They are a picky eater. What should I do? So we go through that as well. So that's the one-on-one coaching program. That's for 3 months. And then you can do the follow-up program that's more affordable or cheaper. And then I have the monthly program for women. And that's a monthly program that's going to be starting in July.
Shannon, as a newly registered dietitian, what are you looking forward to most as you embark on your new journey?
Good question. So I really, really, really want to just grow this private practice and then get a brick and mortar and actual location where people can just come in, because again, I've been researching this stuff for so long and I just don't see this out there.
Yeah.
We have, restaurants and, hospitals and whatever, but people don't have a place that they can go to for preventative health care or to work on their goals with the guidance of a professional. People just go on Instagram and find someone and then hope that all goes well. And so what I'm looking forward is to really grow my private practice, primarily working with people one-on-one and also in the group that I'll be starting July 1st. So yeah, those are my short-term goals and things I'm looking forward to. Definitely.
I love it. I'm so excited for you. This is so exciting. I remember when you were telling me, when you met me, about everything that you're doing. So to see everything come to life, it's really beautiful.
Thank you so much. It's definitely, sometimes I still wake up and I'm like, wait, I'm a dietitian? Oh, wow. I'm like, wow, I really did this. Because I remember those conversations with you and so many others, because this is really my passion, especially, again, being a Black woman growing up in Brooklyn, New York. I've seen how people struggle. I've seen the lack of access to healthy foods and healthcare. I've seen how, people have conditions and they don't have the money to address it. So this is definitely my purpose and my passion, and I'm definitely excited for the future. So thank you. Yeah.
I love it. You are definitely one of the pioneers of a necessary movement, especially for our generation, right? Because everything is it's about the aesthetics, which is okay. We all want to look good and we all want to feel good. But I definitely think, as you said, those preventative measures and just loving your body from the inside out is so like
absolutely
game
body
changing.
positivity. Yep, body positivity, and just normalizing different bodies and normalizing that everybody is not the same, like
right
in every way.
Yes. Shanon, thank you so much for your time. This was such an amazing chat. I learned so much. I know everyone watching learned so much. If you guys are not following Shanon, definitely follow her at the Nourish Center, as well as go onto her website if you're interested in booking a consultation. I pinned her website below. Shanon, have a great night. Thank you so much for your time again. Like, I'm just so proud.
I'm so
like,
happy to be here, and I'm so happy to hear about all you're doing. I'm so happy to see all you're doing. So I just wanted to get that in before this cuts off. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. I'm proud of us, girl. We're doing it. So definitely Black girl joy up in here.
Yes.
Yes.